Hello and welcome to Touchline from Casper Els and Mark Cameron. Hello, Mark.
Gus?
Today we're talking about a bit of Curry Cup rugby. We're going to start with the Curry Cup rugby because unfortunately our guest is having some technical issues. So let's start with the Curry Cup, Mark. Games played this weekend. Pumas 10, Sharks 24, Griquas 27, Bulls 53, and then we had Cheetahs 66 and the Lions 7. I think that Cheetahs Lions game was a bit of a shocker. I didn't believe that the Cheetahs will beat the Lions that far.
No, definitely. If you obviously been following the URC and the Curry Cup, then obviously there's a few question marks with regards to what's happening at the Lions. Sadly so, because they are one of the franchises that have always been up there with the rest. They've always played exciting brand of rugby. But the Curry Cup is a concern because that's your feeders that go through to the URC. And to get outplayed like that, fair enough. The Cheetahs is obviously their A side, and the Lions playing with the B side, if you can call it that, because the URC guys are the A team. But to get outplayed like that is never a good thing, and more so if you look at where the Lions are currently. You know, with regards to, you can only think about the fact that it would start influencing their structures and their game plan and their self-belief. You know, so it's not good for South African rugby either. Unfortunately,
no, definitely not. And then the Bulls travelling to Kimberley. I think, I was under the impression that the Griquas will do better. 27-53 is quite a big score.
Look, normally you go and you think, okay, Griquas playing at home in Kimberley. They're a tough bunch when they play at home, and they've beaten numerous quality sides that have gone to Kimberley.
Yes.
You know, there was this question mark and a lot of media talk this week as well that how fair is it that the Bulls have released a lot of their URC players to play in the Curry Cup, and then obviously play against Griquas, and that's their strongest side that they're putting on the table. Having said that, though, all the franchises knew exactly what was going to happen, and I can understand from a coaching point of view, from the URC coaches, you have some of your fringe players that you want to play. But I mean, having said that, all the franchises playing in the URC have released even players that are playing URC. It's not fringe players. So it's part of a structured approach from the URC provinces that are playing there. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it was expected that specific scoreline. Having said that, you know, the halftime was a close encounter, 15-22. You know, so it's basically the second half that ran away from the Griquas.
Talking about that one now, the Pumas Sharks, I mean, half-time it was a 10-12 affair, and then the Pumas just couldn't score second half, and the Sharks put up another 12 points.
Yeah, yet again, I don't think the Sharks are playing to their potential. Obviously, Sean Everett released a few of the URC players to play in that Curry Cup game as well, and both on the URC front and on the Curry Cup front, I don't think we're there. Having said that, the Sharks are unbeaten in the Curry Cup. They're on top of the log, and it all bodes well for the Sharks franchise at the end of the day. But I do think there's lots of room for improvement, you know. But I mean, it puts the URC side in a good space, and obviously from a Curry Cup point of view, Curry Cup being the richest traditional cup in South Africa and obviously in the world, and it's all to play for.
There's all to play for. Then if we can move on to Varsity Cup, talk a bit about Varsity Cup. The games played last week, Monday. There's games on now tonight, but last week's games, Tuckies against Ikeys, Tucks 38, Ikeys 30. Then CUT 27, Shimla's 48. You spoke about Shimla's last week coming through. Then we got UJ 35, the Eagles 14, Marty's 37, and Wits 10. And then we've got UWC 60 and the Medibas 26. There's some big scores here as well, Mark.
Yeah, definitely, and it's so exciting to see all the youngsters play the part. This is Varsity Cup is a big competition, breeding ground for some quality youngsters coming through and potential Springboks in the future. We've had how many of them going through the ranks, playing for the provinces, and then obviously playing for the Springboks. But the one that you mentioned again, we speak about Shimla's often.
Yeah.
With Sways the Brain there currently, and the brand that they are playing, they are the only undefeated university in the cup. And, they've been playing exciting rugby. And yet again, as you saw, CUT 10 and Shimla's 19 at half time. And it's a second half where obviously Shimla's pulled away a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and it's exciting. It's exciting for the Free State yet again. It's been a couple of years that they haven't had the quality or structures maybe to produce at this front, because traditionally it's the Cape universities and then Tukkies up there, So this time around it's different, and I think it's up for the grabs this year.
It's definitely up for grabs. Games played tonight. We've got Medibas playing against CUT. We've got the Eagles playing against Tukkies. We've got Marties against UJ. We've got Wits against Shimlas. And then we've got Ikes against the University of the Western Cape. Also some good games.
Definitely. If you look at Marties UJ, Peter de Villiers, the ex-Springbok coach, was asked to hand out some of the jerseys there today. So good on him. And it's nice to see someone like him getting involved. Yes. I mean, he used to coach at Varsity Cup in any case, so he's used to that. But it's nice seeing him supporting the universities, And yet again, I think there's going to be a few surprises there at the end of the day, which is what we want.
Definitely. Let's continue. SA Under-20 Cup. The Leopards played the Lions. The Lions beating the Leopards 24-14.
If we can just stop there quickly.
Yes.
So, if you look at the senior sides, all the Lions sides are battling.
Yes.
And now the youngsters are coming through, and yes, I do understand it's a first one and a once-off maybe, but I mean that is something that personally, as if I was a Lions coach, seniors or whatever, looking down at that to say, right, we might not have played a Stormers or a Cheetah side, but we're playing a Leopard side at that level. Like in the Craven Week, and at that level, anything can go any way. But I think it's important for them to have beaten the Leopards away from home.
Yes.
And I think it's important for them to build on that, to say, right, our senior sides can't do it. Let's start picking up some momentum a little bit and putting pressure on the senior sides, because a lot of these youngsters that play under 20 could still make it in the senior side as well if they put their hands up. So I think it's a massive motivational point for them to keep going.
Then the next one, Eastern Province versus the Cheetahs. Cheetahs beating Eastern Province in the Eastern Cape 63-13. And then we've got Western Province and the Bulls, which was a very, very close encounter. And the Western Province just made it in the last minute or so. Western Province beating the Bulls 30-29.
So if you look at the Cheetahs Eastern Province game, traditionally, Cheetahs should be too strong for Eastern Province. Sadly so, they've got such a rich foundation and a fountain of players in the Eastern Cape that South Africa can actually tap into. Whether it's a structure thing, whether it's, I don't know, what they're doing there, but unfortunately from a playing perspective, those youngsters through the ranks, through the seniors, are just not coming through. I think they're also part of the problem maybe is they scattered all over the Eastern Province. Whereas in the Western Province or in the Bulls, they're closer connected to each other. That could be part of it. I don't know if it's a structure thing from the juniors right through to the seniors, how it works. But I mean, if you look at that, and you've got a young province like Eastern Province that is busy rebuilding and want to reclaim. I mean, they a few years ago played in the URC.
Yes.
Now they're in the B division of the Currie Cup. They're battling to do certain things. and a scoreline like that, 63-13, I think it's degrading for the youngsters, really
is.
wanting to put their foot down and also showcase their stuff. It's sad. Then
Yeah.
obviously, sorry, I forgot about this one. Then you talk about Western Province and the Bulls.
And the Bulls.
Province playing at home.
Yeah.
And the Bulls, 29-30, obviously nothing in that. But the Bulls, we spoke about it a few episodes ago. We spoke about Jake White putting in specific
Yes.
structures. Last week when we spoke to Marlies, she spoke about the younger coaches that they got involved there from schoolboy level, putting into the structures. And I mean, it just speaks volumes for the Bulls rugby where they are going at the moment. You know, their core foundation is strong, and they're all working to a specific goal. And I think when Jake White took over in the beginning, we all thought this was going to happen, and they've gone through a little bit of a lull at the moment. But the structures in the Bulls are so strong, and you can actually see it in their under-20. So I think those are probably, and I'm hoping to say that the Sharks as well, but those two franchises are probably the two to look at in the SA Under-20 Cup.
Definitely. Then games coming up. This Friday will be the Lions against Western Province. And then on Saturday, we've got the Cheetahs against the Leopards. Leopards going to Bloemfontein. And then we've got the Bulls Sharks. Sharks playing in Pretoria.
Yeah, so if you look at the Province Lions one, that is now a place for the Lions playing at home to stand up. Because as I said earlier on, they beat the Leopards 24-14. And yes, it's a victory. Maybe not as big as they would have liked, but their challenge will definitely be against Province, because as we saw against the Bulls, Province is a quality outfit. They've always had quality players coming through. So that one's going to be interesting from a Lions perspective. Cheetahs and Leopards, it should go the Cheetahs
Should go
way.
Cheetahs way if you look
And
at what they've
they're
done.
playing at home, and you can't go on previous results, but if you look at what happened the week before that. And then yet again, the Bulls Sharks at
Epic
Fort
game.
Loftus. And maybe it's not Fort Loftus for the youngsters, but I mean, that's a tradition there, and they take pride in winning their home games.
Mark, it's still big for a youngster. Whether you
Definitely.
play at schoolboy rugby or under 20 sides, I mean, it's big playing at Loftus.
Definitely, and you know, it's intimidating when you
Go
there.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And I mean, whether you're from the Sharks or from the Stormers or Cheetahs or wherever, there's a few big names that have gone through the Bulls, like they've gone through all the other franchises. But the Sharks, you know, let's hold thumbs and let's hope it's another quality game. What we don't want is for one province to run away with it before the Currie Cup is even finished. So hopefully the Sharks will pull this one off.
Yes. Just something I forgot or I missed. I just want to go back to the Varsity Cup, or the Varsity Shield actually. A couple of games that were played in the Varsity Shield. The Varsity Shield started and it's sort of not quite where we think it should be. I see that UKZN Impies made some headlines in the way that they played. Some good rugby.
Yeah, look, I think it was a little bit of a surprise, I think.
It was.
Because they played against a quality side. And, you know, we know the coach very well, Donald Ngwenya, and congratulations to him and the UKZN side. What one needs, though, is the consistency.
Yes.
And to play two tough games like that, 2 days apart from each other, and we saw that in the second round, was a bit tough on Sunday. But all credit to UKZN. And, you know, for them now to kick on and to make it a success, obviously coming home, or like all the other universities, going home, reassessing, having a look at your opposition, and then going back. I think the way the Shield has been structured this year compared to last year, where they were in the bubble, and I think they played 3 or 4 games in the 10 days that they were there. This time around, you play 2 games in basically 3 days. So it's also going to be tough, and man and player management, I think, is going to play a crucial role here.
But it's not as difficult on the players and the player bodies as last year.
No, fair enough.
Last year was a...
Well, we don't know. We're sitting on this side. So obviously we'll ask some of the coaches to join us in studio in the near future and hear from them.
Yeah.
But yet again, I think it's player management, and I think from a UKZN point of view, because they did so well, and they won their first game. Obviously, that's a motivator. And I mean, the second one they came unstuck a little bit, but credit to them. Let's see where they take it.
Let's see where they take it. Let's go on to club rugby for a minute. A lot of games being played now. It's all friendlies, and the leagues hasn't started yet. So all the teams are now setting up friendlies, playing friendlies against one another. And the Mums and Toti Rugby Club had the privilege of travelling to Ishawe Rugby Club, to go and play in the Bozas Cup this past weekend. And above all expectation, Toti did actually very well.
Well, it depends yet again on which side of the fence you sit. If you go above all expectations, I think when the boys left Toti Rugby Club, they expected to be there.
Okay.
I think if you like, from a player perspective, that's always how it is. If you look at the last year or two, what Toti has gone through, and people looking from the outside in, then you're 100% correct. But like any player, players will always back themselves, and they'll always believe they'll go ahead and achieve the unthinkable. But and I agree with you, from a club perspective, how we looked at it, and that I think the youngsters surprised many people, including us.
Yeah.
Which is great, and it's great for club rugby, and that's exactly what you want.
Yeah.
You know, you want something like this to happen for that self-belief, because what you don't want is similar to Formula One in the past, where you only had one. Well, I nearly said one proper driver. They're all quality drivers, but only one car that you know, like in Michael Schumacher's era, don't even put the TV on because he's going to win. Club rugby is similar to that, you know, and for Toti now to start the season or pre-season like that from a self-belief point of view, I think would be magnificent. And you know, the teams they played against weren't bad at all.
No, definitely not bad teams. I was fortunate enough to be there, and the hospitality of Ishawe Rugby Club was absolutely phenomenal. Toti started off playing Richards Bay in the round robins, and Toti lost 7-12 to Richards Bay. Then our second team, we are over 35, supposed to be, played against Crusaders, and they drew 0-0. Then our second team then played against Belito 1, and they lost 15-0 against Belito. Then our first team played against Drakensberg, and we lost 5-0 to Drakensberg. Then the Mums and Toti 1 played Crusaders, and we beat Crusaders 19-0. Then our second team carried on to play against Drakensberg, and we beat Drakensberg 5-7, which then took us through to the semi-finals. To me, it was a bit of an unexpected, if you look at the scores and how many games we lost, but based on the rules of the Bozas Cup, it's all about tries scored, and we were fortunate enough to score more tries than what most of the other teams have scored, and that was based on the game against Crusaders, where we beaten them 19-0. So we advanced into the semi-finals, where we then played against Drakensberg again, and we beat Drakensberg in the semi-finals 26-0.
Yeah, it just shows you. I mean, obviously it was a 15-man game, played on the sevens rules.
Yes.
And the halves were eight-minute halves initially.
Yes.
And then obviously they extended it as you went into the finals. What is important, obviously, in a tournament like this is your man management and your player management and rest and recovery time and so on and so forth. But you know, I think you are right, above all expectation. And I think if it was probably managed better, if I can say that word, from the beginning, expecting to go through to the final,
Yes.
it might have been different as well, you know. But as we said, we played Richards Bay in the final. They themselves did very well, and you know, and it's nice to see two of the non-top clubs, if I can put it that way,
Yes.
in KZN, actually performing quite well, and it's nice to see. One big thing that was a plus point is seeing all the people there, and all the rivalry is back. and all the cheering and spectators. And one good thing was that although they were all in competition with each other, the camaraderie and that hasn't been lost over these years.
Yes, the camaraderie in Ishawi was absolutely phenomenal. All the teams, all the club chairmen, everybody there just seemed to be friendly and be friends in rugby. It was such an atmosphere. And then you had the characters of a Josh Robson walking around there, and he just lit up the day, and everybody was around Josh as well. So in all, the club the club game was just absolutely highlighted in this day. And a very congratulations to Richards Bay that won the plate final, and then Ishawi Rugby Club that won the cup final. Just saying something in the plate and the cup, it's not like in Sevens Rugby, where the plate and the cup is, or the plate is for third and fourth place. It's equal. It's a B section and an A section, and as far as I could understand, the A section is for the Zululand teams, and the B section is for all the teams outside of Zululand. So it's equal. So Richards Bay and Ishawi are on par, and it's exactly the same first place. It's not a third or a fourth place. It's both first places. So well done to those clubs, and congratulations, and a very big thank you to Ishawi Rugby Club for hosting this and hosting us at Ishawi. I think it's phenomenal, and you will definitely see a Mums and Toti there next year.
No, 100%. And you know, if you look at the day, I mean, I was chatting to many players and coaches. Even got a call from the South Coast with regards to the performances and all of that, you know. And the day itself belongs to rugby.
100%.
It was well set up, well organized.
Yeah.
The teams that obviously planned better did a little bit better, I think. And how some teams go there on the social, you know, so they just need to fill up the teams and want to play.
I would like to name the teams
No,
that were there on the social, but I would rather not do that for now.
So, but yet again, from a club perspective in South Africa, in KZN, where we haven't played now in the last few months, to go into a tournament like this, where there's spectators, where there's a nice vibe.
Yes.
I mean, we can only speak from Toti's point of view, where the players enjoyed it. And something like this could set you up for something nice to happen throughout the season. And maybe and hopefully that will work from Toti's side.
You're talking about starting a season like this. I think this was probably the best start that you can ever have for a team like a Mums and Toti or a Richards Bay or an Ishawi to be part of a tournament like this and come and play for actually nothing, if I can call it nothing, but for the Bozas Cup. That's a cup that you can take home and that you can actually treasure. If you look at the history of the Bozas Cup from 1947, they've been running since 1947 up until now. And the nice thing about it is that Mums and Toti is 75, the Bozas Cup is 75, and Ishawi Rugby Club is 100.
Yeah,
so
no, definitely.
Putting all of that together, it's actually phenomenal. It's something to play for, although it's not a league cup that you win.
But I mean, from a pre-season point of view, you know, you look at fitness and you look at certain structures that you want to implement and so forth. With the games only being 8 minutes, there's not much time really to get into specifics. But it gives the youngsters a chance to run around. I look at Toti. We've got brand new players that have joined the club that one has never seen before. So you throw them in there and they play, and there you actually use it as trials maybe, and to advance to the finals. It's just so much better, you know, from youngsters that join a club to think, listen, maybe we're going somewhere in that. So I think it's phenomenal, and may Ishawi Rugby Club continue with that for the next few years. Hopefully something like a COVID doesn't intervene again.
Hopefully not, and I'm sure that it will be an absolute pleasure to go back to Ishawi and go and do this once again.
Definitely.
Yeah. Mark, thank you very much. Appreciate.
Before we finish, sorry, just a big well done and congratulations to DUT in the Varsity Shield. They won their first ever match on Sunday. So well done to them. Last year they battled a little bit, with regards to how much they scored against them and so on and so forth. So well done to DUT from KZN.
Mark, thank you very much.
Thanks, Gus. It's always nice sharing rugby memories with you.
Mark, from myself and you, Mark Cameron, have a great rugby week.
Definitely. See you next week.